Exploded ordnance from cluster bombs continues to cause fatalities and injuries to people years or even decades after the munitions were deployed. According to the Afghan Ministry of Martyrs and Disabled Affairs, there are 195,000 registered individuals who have been maimed, with the majority of them being victims of drone strikes and cluster bomb incidents.
We don't have exact data on the number of Afghans maimed by the use of cluster bombs, but in fact, many cases of disabilities, including those suffered by the Mujahideen, are a result of airstrikes, including drone attacks and cluster bombs. The US has committed various war crimes in Afghanistan, except for the use of nuclear bombs.
However, the realities on the ground in Afghanistan paint a different picture, despite the Pentagon's defense of cluster bombs as crucial tools for targeting specific areas and personnel. Sulaiman, now 27, is one of the victims of the US cluster bombs. He was a child playing in his neighborhood in the Jilrez district of central Maidan province when a cluster bomb struck him. All he can recall is the trauma and the intense pain he experienced.
When I heard the sounds of bombardment, I was totally frightened. I was just 6 years old. A bomb struck me in the back, and I have been disabled since then.
Asadullah is another victim of a similar incident. He was on his way back home with his classmates when the remaining cluster bomb detonated. He survived, but 3 of his classmates lost their lives. Despite the ordeal, he preserved and completed his studies in India, earning a bachelor's degree in mining engineering. To this day, he continues to visit psychiatrists due to the horrific incident he experienced back in 2011.
I was admitted to the hospital, and when I opened my eyes, I realized that I had lost one of my arms. It remains the most traumatic memory of my life.
Since the use of controversial cluster bombs in previous conflict has left a significant number of Afghans and people from other nations in tragic situations, Washington's decision to supply Ukraine with cluster bombs is being criticized by analysts in Afghanistan.
It's a tremendous human tragedy, and this tragedy has been brought about by the US and its allies, including the UK and other countries that have all come together under the NATO structure. They have adopted it as their policy, which is very treacherous.
Hundreds of disabled people visit the Ministry of Martyrs and Disabled Affairs. Most of them have heartbreaking stories from cluster bombs all through Afghanistan. Zmaryalai Abasin, CGTN, Kabul.